When your partner goes quiet and you think they're just tired, when they reach for you in the middle of something ordinary and you assume it means nothing, when they make a major life decision and it never occurs to them to make it without knowing how you'll feel about it, something is happening in their nervous system that almost no one ever describes, not because the science isn't there, but because the moment is too quiet to notice. Your brain is built to process different kinds of relationships through completely different neural networks. The person you are attracted to lights up your dopamine system, the reward circuitry that fires on novelty, pursuit, excitement. But somewhere in a long-term relationship, something shifts and the brain reclassifies. And when that happens, you stop being processed as a lover and start being processed as something far more permanent. Something the nervous system treats like oxygen, not something it craves, but something it requires. By the end of this answer something relationship psychology has been quietly proving for decades, but almost no one talks about what you really are to someone who has truly bonded with you, not based on what they say, not based on how much they want you, based on what their nervous system actually does with you. And once you understand this, you'll recognize it in every moment they've already shown you, the ones you might have dismissed as nothing. The promise is not a romantic conclusion, but a neurological truth that changes how you see every ordinary moment you share. We'll get there, but first, what most people completely miss about attachment. Have you ever had the experience of them thinking of you at a moment when you had no way of knowing they were thinking of you? And yet somehow you felt it or noticed them watching you while you were talking about something completely mundane and they couldn't really explain why. Most people dismiss these moments, but you felt them, which means something. When someone becomes your partner's primary attachment figure, and here is what most people never realize, their brain is not just loving you differently. Their brain is processing you differently, and entirely different neural networks activate. The anterior cingulate cortex comes online along with the insula and the orbitofrontal cortex. These are not the regions of desire, but the regions of self-regulation, identity, and existential safety. Bowlby, whose attachment research remains the most empirically supported framework in relationship psychology, distinguished the primary attachment figure by one specific criterion. This is the person to whom someone turns in moments of threat, stress, or uncertainty, not by choice but by reflex, before logic even engages. What this means is your partner's nervous system has reclassified you. You have been moved out of the reward system, out of the category of want, and into the survival system, into the category of need. The person who sees you as just a lover is choosing you. The person for whom you have become their attachment figure needs you in a way that bypasses choice entirely. This is not a smaller place to be, but a more permanent one. You already know this at the level of feeling, but you just didn't have language for it. Bowlby identified 4 specific behaviors that mark someone as a primary attachment figure. Proximity seeking. When they are stressed, their instinct is to be near you. Separation protest. When you are apart, something in them registers it as loss. Using you as a secure base, they make decisions knowing you are there to return to. Grief at the prospect of permanent loss, and you know the quality of this if you have ever seen them. Imagine a future without you. Sue Johnson, who built on Bowlby to create emotionally focused therapy, made a discovery that most people never talk about. The intensity of pain in a relationship conflict is almost always proportional to the depth of the attachment bond. People do not fight that hard, hurt that much, or grieve that long over someone who is merely a lover. The ferocity of the emotion is the measure of the reclassification. When your partner overreacts to your withdrawal, or falls apart at the thought of losing you, or becomes uncharacteristically aggressive when you fail to show up in a moment of crisis, they are not being irrational, but their nervous system is screaming that the person it has organized itself around is unreliable. That is not weakness, but the system working exactly as it evolved to work. Most people think this means they need their partner too much. What it actually means is that their nervous system has finally made you essential, and you can feel the difference. If you're recognizing yourself and your partner in this right now, if you're understanding a dynamic you felt but never had words for, hit like and subscribe, as it helps us reach more people who want to understand what they really are to the person they love. There is a specific moment in brain imaging that marks this reclassification. Helen Fisher's neuroimaging research at Rutgers showed long-term partners who described their relationship as deeply loving. When shown photographs of their partner, something remarkable happened. Early romantic love activated the dopamine reward circuit intensely but briefly. Long-term deep love activated the ventral pallidum, a region associated with maternal attachment in mammals, along with areas linked to calm, reduced anxiety, and suppression of social judgment. What this means in language you can feel is early love is about pursuit, but deep bonded love is about peace. Your nervous system has changed from wanting them to being able to rest near them, from excitement to stability, from novelty to home. Mario Mikulincer, one of the most prolific attachment researchers alive, found something that reveals the depth of this shift. When a person simply mentally represented their attachment figure, just thought about them, their physiological stress responses dropped. Pain tolerance increased and compassion towards strangers expanded. You did not have to be present, as your mental existence in their mind was enough to regulate their nervous system. You are for your partner a regulatory resource running in the background of every moment, not something they pull out in emergencies, but something their brain uses continuously, invisibly, to keep itself stable. They are not thinking about this, but their nervous system simply knows it. You're in the middle of a hard day, nothing catastrophic, just the grinding kind of difficulty that accumulates, and without planning to, without even having a specific reason, they cross your mind, not to call, not about anything concrete, just their face, their voice. And something in you settles slightly without explanation. This is not distraction, but the nervous system deploying its most powerful regulatory resource. They get good news, real good news. And before the full feeling has even landed, before they have had time to process it themselves, they want you to know, not to celebrate with you, not even to share it, but just they want you to know the experience doesn't feel complete until it has passed through you. This is not habit, but a neural circuit completing itself. Their knowing is now part of how experience becomes real to them. They are deciding something significant, a job, a move, something that changes the trajectory. And without framing it as asking permission or seeking approval, they realize they cannot make the decision without knowing how it lands with you. Not because they need your sign-off, but because you have become part of the neural network through which they understand what they want. This is not weakness, but the most honest thing a person can do, acknowledging that you have become part of how they know themselves. What is lost when this reclassification never happens, when a partner remains only a lover, only a source of attraction and pleasure, never becoming a safe haven, is nearly impossible to name, because the relationship can look perfectly intact from the outside. They manage their lives together, and they may rarely fight. But what is missing is what psychologists call felt security, the quiet, continuous background sense of being held by someone who is genuinely there. Without it, both partners remain in a state of low-grade vigilance. Gottman identified this in couples with high external function but low emotional intimacy. They operate efficiently, they coordinate well, but their nervous systems are not at rest with each other. The body continues spending energy monitoring the relationship that a fully bonded pair has learned to take offline. Over years, this low-grade expenditure is exhausting in ways that are very hard to diagnose. The ones who miss this reclassification often say they love their partner but feel somehow alone. They have the structure of intimacy, but they do not have the safety of it, and those are different things entirely. The body knows the difference, even if the mind cannot name it. There is a concept in attachment psychology called irreplaceability, and it explains something that most people experience but few understand. When you become someone's primary attachment figure, you cannot be replaced by accumulating other relationships. You cannot substitute multiple friendships for one primary attachment figure. You cannot get more love from other sources and make up for a specific person's absence, as the nervous system coded the specific person, not the role. For a securely attached person, making their partner their primary attachment figure feels natural and enriching. But for an anxiously attached person, this reclassification can feel terrifying, because the bond's profound depth also means its potential loss is catastrophic. For an avoidantly attached person, it often happens without their conscious awareness or permission, which is why avoidant partners sometimes don't understand the depth of their own attachment until the relationship is threatened or until it's lost. What many people don't realize is that this fear, the quiet terror of needing someone this much, is not a sign that something is wrong with the bond. It is a sign that something is finally real, and the ones who feel this fear are actually the ones who have made the deepest reclassification. They are just terrified of its consequences. And that terror, while difficult, is not a mistake, but the nervous system finally acknowledging what it actually needs. Here is what the science is pointing to and what you feel in the quiet moments when your partner looks at you and their whole body settles. You are not their lover, and you are not the person they chose, though they did choose you. You are the person their nervous system chose, the one their brain reclassified from wanted to needed, from desired to essential, from someone they love to the place where they become themselves. The evolutionary function is ancient, as for 99% of human history, individual survival was statistically impossible without a coalition partner. Someone whose proximity reduced threat, whose presence meant making it through the winter. The brain evolved a system to identify, bond to, and monitor this person with a vigilance it reserved for nothing else. What you experience now as the deep, irreplaceable bond of long-term love is the modern expression of that system. Ancient hardware built for the savannah, now pointed at the person sleeping next to you. When your partner has made you their primary attachment figure, they have activated the oldest, most powerful bonding system in the human brain and aimed it directly at you. This is not something they can turn off, and this is not something they can feel their way out of. They have neurologically reorganized around your presence. You are wired into their self-regulation, their identity, their sense of safety. The person who loves you as a lover is offering you pleasure. The person for whom you have become their attachment figure is offering you something far more rare. You are being offered the role in their survival. Not dramatically, but quietly, in every ordinary moment where they reach for you before thinking, in every decision they cannot make without you, in every hard day where your face is the first place their mind goes looking for rest. This is what you really are: not wanted, but needed, not chosen, but essential, not their lover, but their home. They are not staying because love is easy, but they are staying because you specifically are the one their nervous system has decided makes the world survivable.